All right, I got an interesting one for us here today. 1992 Briggs 5 horsepower. You can see this thing. It's pretty nice. I would say it was kept in very nice shape. Somebody worked on it. Somebody had it. All right, my guy. Let's get a backstory on it. My guy brought it to me and asked me if I could get it running. He said first he said it didn't run right. So I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said it didn't run right or it didn't run well or whatever. And it was backfiring. As you see here, the carburetor is actually puffing back. A lot of people think backfiring is like when the muffler, makes all that noise. Usually when you hear it on the exhaust side, it's a misfire. However, if it is running, if the engine is running, which this one isn't, it can't run, it doesn't start, it will not run. It will just occasionally puff back through the carburetor. But what you might hear through the muffler is a miss. And if it misses enough, especially with like an 8-cylinder or something, fuel can accumulate within the muffler, build up within the exhaust, and suddenly ignite. And that's kind of what most people really associate with a backfire. So I'm gonna go through this thing, try to figure out what's wrong with it. I want to see if you guys can troubleshoot it and be honest, right? As you see it sort of play out, comment. Let us know what you think. No one's going to grade you or give you a hard time. And if they do, I'm just going to remove them. No, I mean, feel it out. So I showed this on a live stream. I think it was like last Saturday, or maybe the Saturday before. I don't remember. And two of the fellas, it was Robert Mailhouse and it was Johnny Bravo 1, I think it is. They both came really close with their, kind of watching some of the footage, raw footage of what I was going through. It was just kind of running some raw footage through during the live stream, which is what I do Saturday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, usually. And they came real close. So let's get to this video. I'm going to work on it. I was a little surprised. I'm going to admit, a little teaser here. I was surprised, and I thought about it. And then I was like, okay, let's just dig a little bit deeper. Let's get started. That plug is loose. I didn't do that. The plug doesn't look bad, but everything is dry. So let's put the plug back. I got a pair of pliers just in case. There may be no off switch on this. Even though I'm throwing the levers over here, it doesn't say stop. So in case we need to pop that plug off, full choke. Let's see if she'll start up for us. Yep, oh, that doesn't sound good. You hear that, fellas? Let's pull it off a choke. Uh-oh, that's locking. It kicked. All right. Yep. All right, let's pull this cover off. Well, it's not great, but it's not bad. Let's pull this plug. Looks clean in here. I mean, everything is going to be clean. I just gapped up a HIPAA plug. Nice, brand new. All right, I got it set to like 28, 30 thousandths. You got to gap those. They come like 32. A little bit of no-sees on the threads. We got to remember, when you put a new plug in, you got that gasket. We got to seat it. All right, good. It feels like it's stripping, but it's not. We're going to try some Motor-Medic and some regular gas. All right, let's try regular gas. Put a bunch of gas in it. See what I mean? That ain't gonna run. All right, let's pull this back out and we'll do a quick compression test and see what we get. All right, well, we got over 50. It could be a spark related issue. I may have the right coil for it. I don't see why I wouldn't. We'll have to see what we got. So before I dig in deep, we go in, let's just review what we got going on. All right, so plug was loose. No big deal. Maybe he was noodling around with it. Put another plug in, the same issue. Pull the air cleaner cover off, take a look in there, right, and try pulling over again. I didn't like the sound of it. We see a backfire. Test compression. We're way north of 50, maybe close to 60, 75. I mean, I'm not really pulling all that hard. Briggs says something like 40 PSI, and the motor, that's like their their sort of low level limit. And I've seen them run at that. So what does 60 to 70 say? It says that the compression is pretty good. It should run. It's certainly enough for a four cycle engine. So we shouldn't have any leaking valves. So if it's puffing back, if you're thinking that maybe the intake valve is getting stuck or isn't sealing well, and maybe that's causing it, well, maybe not, right? That kind of rules out valves, because if either valve was leaking and it wasn't sealing right, we wouldn't build that kind of compression. And yeah, maybe if the intake valve was leaking, you might see a pop back when it tries to fire off. But we are north of 60 pounds, 50, 60 pounds. If that was the case, we probably wouldn't see that kind of compression. We would maybe see a lot lower than that, and we would be saying there's something wrong with the motor. Let's go in deeper, right? Pull the head off, whatever. It also suggests that if there is an ACR on it, which it probably is, most of these motors have ACRs, that's probably working, because a lot of these motors that are in really good shape, I've seen them, even with ACRs, make over 100 pounds. I've seen some of the 190 cc's from, I want to say, the 2000s, early 2000s. I've seen a few. And I was able to pull those over without any kickback or struggling to pull it on a lawnmower engine. So, and she's firing to some degree, right? So it's lighting a fire with either plug. It's the same result. So it's not an ignition issue. What do you guys think? All right, let's get back to it. All right, hold on a minute. I want to add one more thing. So if the intake valve was leaking, just to kind of go over that, if it was leaking a little bit, and what I've seen in the past is I've seen what's known as reversion. So the compression gases, when it fires, if the intake valve is leaking a little bit, that pressure will create a wave and it'll come back through the carburetor. And what you'll see is, first of all, you'll notice very poor performance. You may not even make high RPM, and you'll see it spitting out of the carburetor, the throat of the carburetor. You'll see sort of fuel and mist, not necessarily smoke, but fuel and mist coming out of the carburetor intake, right? That's because the gases are reverting backwards. It's called reversion, and it will come out. And I actually have a video on that on an old 4-stroke Briggs motor that I did on a lawn boy, commercial lawn boy. And notice she's blowing out the carburetor. Let me show you. Okay. See all that? She's got a backfire. Well, she woke up. Still putting a lot out. See? That's because of valve recession. The intake valve in that case, actually both valves, was pounding down so much on the seat that it drove the seat down, in which case the valve comes down with it, and then you lose your clearance in the underneath the valve cover. You lose your clearance to your lifter. So normally there'll be a gap there, right? And that's your valve lash. There's a lot of valve movement here. Hear it? And that should be closed. In fact, when we get the exhaust valve open, here, so that's a problem. Now, this one doesn't move very much, but when we open up the intake, like, you can hear it. And look at all the movement. She's sloppy as hell. This valve isn't even closing well on the seat. It will lose that clearance, and therefore the valve doesn't fully close, but it will run and it will spit. Now, if it happens to the exhaust valve, you'll notice some odd behavior, and again, you'll be down on power. And typically the ACR cranks open the exhaust valve a little bit as you're building compression to blow it off. And then once the RPM comes up through inertial forces, that mechanism moves out of the way and you have normal valve operation. So I just wanted to mention that. So those two terms, reversion when it's coming backwards, but again, the motor should run. I've seen this one motor, I was really bad, and that's why I did a video on how to fix it and correct it. But the motor is so poor. That motor's got to come off. In fact, I got an idea for it coming up this year, and I can make a video for our friend and my friend TJ, who hooks me up with all this cool gear. And then there's recession, where the valves get pounded down and they lose their clearance, and they don't perform properly and they won't close right. But in either case, you might actually get those motors to run, typically. how beautiful it is. All right, and even the flywheel is, the magnet's clean. His gas is fine. We can put that back. There was just a little bit of dirt in the bottom. We'll filter that out. So I have an engine that's basically this. It's a 5 horsepower, came off of an early rototiller. Same thing, except it doesn't have the same crank. And also, the one that I have, I've been pickling for parts because it's got a short little stubby crankshaft on it. So it's not really useful for anything other than a pulley, and that's what it had. And it ran, though. It ran fine. And I wound up putting this assembly on a different engine for a dethatcher aerator. So that's all good to go. We're just going to clean it up with this tool, and we'll swap that out. We want to clean in air too a little bit. Set it to 12 thousandths, 0.012. Put the cover back on and see if it'll start. We'll bring it out and we'll see if we can run it. All right, bolts are out. The magnet's holding it up, so we'll pull that off. I also took off the wire from behind. Like I said, this magnet's in nice shape. Let's just move it out of our way. Everything looks real good here. I'm not seeing any issues. We can go in and get some of this crust off later. If it runs, right, we'll bring it out, take this back off, plug up some holes, and we'll get in there, and we'll just shoot it real quick, just with the hose and some super clean. Just snug it. And now I'm going to grab my 12 thousandths brass. Let it come down. Now a lot of these bolts were loose. All up here, this whole bracketry, that's bad. That could suck a bolt in. Quarter drive, right? No banger guns. You could snap this. You can even put a little lube on the threads if they're really dry. This oil's a little too thick for this, but better than nothing. 3-in-1 would be good there too. Now let's get my tool out before we get ahead of ourselves. So there's this spring pocket in there. There's a hole right there, and we can get a little bit of oil in there. Well, like I said, we'll wash it out, but we don't want to ruin anything. Get all that cleaned out later. I think we'll do that tomorrow. Oh, let's move this magnet up there so it's less likely to grab the tin. You're not fighting it and having issues. So let me put all this back. We'll get a plug in, put a little bit more gas in it. All right, so just before I run outside, yes, this is not clipped in there. We're coming back. Model code, model type, and it's a type E. So it's type E. Type E. Code, which usually it's over here somewhere. But so this is a 1992, May 21st. And I don't care about what plant it was in, but because of the date, it would not have points. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, a little bit. Nope. Usually by the exhaust. Yeah. Yep. Nope. 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 Just here. Yep. Good. 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 All right, we'll tighten that up a little bit. Let's give it the choke. Let's just do it without any help. Oh, nope. Nope. All right. It's not spark. So would it backfire like that? Let's give it some hot shot. Yep. Let's dig into it and see what's going on. So as I said in my intro, And we can just, now that you guys have seen a little bit more, comment, right? Comment as many times as you want. Just, guess, educated guess it. My guy had given me some info on it, and then I had written to him and he didn't answer me. You don't want to rip apart somebody's machine, especially when it looks like that. He took this motor off of a tiller, and he wanted to do it, and he sounded very knowledgeable. He probably could have, but he just bought a house and everything, a little bit more backstory. And when he came and picked it up, his wife was in the car. I didn't meet her. But she was, texting him, you're probably one of these, well, let's go, what are you doing in there? I ran it for him at the end. So hold on now, I'm getting a little too far into it. I was a little surprised because remember, this is not a vertical shaft with a lawnmower blade. This is a horizontal motor or axial with pulleys. So I'm going to leave it there. Okay. And I want to tell you more. I gave you a little bit more of the backstory. Keep texting. And if you are good, I'm glad. That would make me happy. Make me happy. You can change your mind. All right. Let's keep going. Yeah, it comes down here to the kill down here, which is common. There's a throttle that goes there. So it should just be electronic ignition because this is a 92. You'd see the points in the 70s, even some of the late 70s started to get electronic ignition. By the 80s, a lot of things were being converted. That's loose. A lot of stuff was loose on here. So I don't have the tool for this, but usually I can get it off. Oh, this one's cheap. All these bearings pop. All right, let's put it on its side. Hold on, let me get my magnet. Let's just take all these off. It's in excellent shape. There's one more. I'm going to move it out of your view, but basically we're just going to kind of lock up. It's a nice cast iron flywheel, so we should be okay. Lock up the flywheel and remove spark plug. I called him last night, or I texted him, and I told him what was going on. I said, I need to know what your thoughts are, because this I can do. I said, but the more I take it apart, the less I'm going to be wanting to put it together if it's broken. So I said, I'll take this off and I'll check to make sure that the key is there or that this is aligned right. But if that is set right, then I have to take the carburetor off and the head off, and I need to get to the valve cover and to the valves and check all of that. So that's where we are. Let's see what we have here. Just try to support it. I'm going to try to grab a suitable location. It shouldn't be on all that tight. Oh, Jesus. What the hell did he do? We're going to need to impact it with something. I need to hit it. I don't know why it's on so tight. It should not be on that tight. Normally when you pull the pull starter, you're pulling in this direction, so you would be tightening this. I think I got that. Oh, wait, something happened. Yep, I think I got it. You never know. I mean, all these new parts, somebody put them on because they're not normal. You don't open it up and see this kind of stuff. I mean, it's in beautiful shape, but uh-oh, that's our problem. She had the key. Did they even put a key, fellas? Yeah. Key sheared. Somebody put no C's on it and sheared the key. I'm just seeing a damaged key. Let's find a key for it. Yeah, somebody put no C's on this. This'll run. Let's bring it out and throw a little bit of cleaner on all of this. Just a little bit. I'll get it in and around, and we'll get all that cleaned up while I have everything out. Let me close up the holes. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, so just real quick, right? I've watched some of the Honda videos, like from the Honda Corporation, where they have a number of videos out. Check them out. They're kind of like the how to repair one of their mowers or the engine. They had one where years ago that I watched. They took the motor apart. They did some repairs to it. They put it back together again. When they got to the flywheel, they said no oil, nothing. Don't ever put any lubricant on between those two shafts, because you've got to lock the taper, right? That's something that I learned years ago. First time I saw a taper was when I was really, really young, and the chuck fell out of an old drill press. And I think we put some heat shrink on it or something, whatever. Anyway, it fell out because it was old. And I'm like, my friend Arthur came by, and he had worked in a machine shop for a little while, and he said, "No, that's a taper." And I'm like, "What the hell is a taper?" Like, how does that hold on it? Friction. It's friction. I've even seen scenarios where you could put some valve lap compound on it and, just a light coat and shove it up there, and it might work for a time, because otherwise it would have to be all machined again. Anyway, the idea is to lock the taper on the thing. And if you're going to butter up, butter boy, those shafts with no C's, it's just going to slip, especially the weight of that flywheel. Remember, that's a cast flywheel. You usually see that on things with pulleys, right? You need more mass, and things in motion tend to stay in motion. So that's kind of a law, and something made it sort of continue to move when it got shut off, or maybe going over some, hard material, and the pulleys really got in there tight. And that little key is designed to protect the motor. So it just went. As a disclaimer, a lot of times you may see me replace a flywheel. I've got a couple of videos out there. One of them's doing very well. A lot of crap that I get does not look like this. It's not like this. It might look like this after I'm done with it, but a lot of the stuff out in the garden has been sitting. First of all, somebody had at it. A bunch of people sometimes. They abused it. They left it sit out. It's sitting back there for years, or God knows how long, and it's just wrecked. So I'll usually clean it with a wire wheel, or sometimes my Scotch-Brite on my whiz banger, and then I hit it with my soy sauce, my special sauce, which is just 50-50 of transmission fluid and gasoline. Right, it cleans it up really good. You wipe it down. It's got a very, very light coating of a kind of an oil that's a cleaner. I sweeten the seal a little bit. You're seeing me use it here. And then I wipe it with a rag, and I put everything together again. And there's usually, like on my stuff, you see how clean this is. On my stuff that I have to work on, the flywheel is like rotted on, and I have to heat it to get it off. And the shaft is stained. You got to lock the taper. Now I'm learning even more about this stuff as I slowly get into machining with my new 100-year-old lathe. Take my advice. Take a good look at this. Don't let this happen to you. The threads are a little damaged here. Yeah, a little bit over here too. Let's see how this goes on. It's okay. It goes pretty much all the way down. Gets tight down here, but we're okay. Yeah, there's a little damage on that. This is a little sharp. They don't really deburr anything, do they? Probably, yeah, it's got burrs all over it. Jeepers. That's probably Chinese made. Let's take this coil out. This is mine. Mine. And we'll put his coil in. The correct original. So, just like I do, well, except for over in this area here. Let's give that a quickie. Put a little bit of lube on these bolts, a little bit of oil. I'm going to hang the coil. Let's see if we can put it in widthwise. Yeah. Let's put the new key in, this key in widthwise. That's how it goes. I got rid of the no C's because that you don't want that. That gets in the way. And I'm going to tighten it the same way I got it off. Yeah, that's going good. That's it. I don't want to mash that up any more than it is. Let's just get rid of these burrs here. Yeah, this burr's all over it. What the hell is that from? That's not from me. That's all over the place.
Eventually.
All right, let's give it a quick blow. Touch of low pressure air, put your glasses on. Where are my balls? I already put some oil in it, but we'll put a little more. Just drews down the shaft. A little in here. You got your little thing there. It's like a little washer. And now fill them up. I like this system. And you can just put no grease, just a touch of oil for the balls, for your balls. It should be okay. Let's see. Yeah, we'll find out in a minute once you put it together. Where's the screen and seal? Yeah, this definitely looks aftermarket. I like to just make sure that seal is down. I guess this was loose. Let's see if it gets tight. This was not tight. Maybe he was afraid of crushing the screen. I mean, that's what you're gonna have to do. I'm just using my nut driver. No impact tools, no banger guns. What's that in there? Wire wheel? Yeah. Somebody used a wire wheel on a little piece of a wire wheel thing. You don't want that. Lefty. Quarter drive. You don't want to be breaking stuff. Ow. Always something. Let's see. Feels good. Not hitting nothing. Next, let me put the cover back on. Like I said, I'm going to lube it like I did last time. A little bit in the spring pocket. We'll get it back on. We got to make sure we purchase here. Especially now since I wiped it out. I cleaned it out. See how nice and clean it is? Let's give it a little pull. Like that. Oh, we got to get this on. Let me bolty it up. And I want to check on a couple of little things. Carburetor, you know, I kind of used the toothbrush around the carburetor. That seems to be good. Hopefully everything there is okay. Yeah, that should hold it. All right, just this little piece for now. And let me go grab a quick bite and then we'll set it up outside. Let the oil settle. And we're gonna change, if it runs okay, we'll change the oil and we'll put a fresh air filter in it. See how it runs. We might want to replace that bladder and then a diaphragm, but it may not need it. And then we can also let it run for a little while, put some even more gas in if we need to. We can make an adjustment to high speed, but he can do that, all right? Because I don't want to run it to high speed. I'd like to put the belts on and such for that. Here, 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 here. Touch oil right there, there, there. There. Just drops. You know, because we washed it. I think we're good. Let's see what it does. Let's go full choke. Oh yeah. Needs more RPM. But that's its idle. Wow. Let's let it warm up. I want to give it a little more idle. Warm up more. I got it adjusted pretty good. Let's see what the RPM is. 2400. But remember now, this is like an idle for it. 2000 maybe. 2470. But we're bench running it. All right, let's get that oil out. Oh, whoa. That's like water. That's bad. Oh, yeah. Yeah, a little bit of silveries. Aren't you going to kill your grass? I know. A little bit. Only got a little bit. Yeah, it's too watery. We're going to put something a little thicker in it. Well, I can see it was blowing a little bit of smoke, a little bit of blue. Also, that oil was shot, and you can see the stripies in it. It's gone. So I'm going to use the high mileage 1030. These are both semi-synthetic, and then the truck oil, right? The diesel oil, 1540. I didn't put that much in, all right? So I'll probably put a little bit more of the truck oil in. Let me see what it takes. We'll mix it about 1/3 of the truck oil. I don't want to go too thick, but that's going to have some stuff in it for old engines because these are for cars. And you know, if you want something, get an actual oil for small engines and maybe a straight weight or whatever manufacturers recommend. They're allowed to put some additional additives in and things for small engines, whereas cars you can't have that. Trucks you can, but that's a little thick. So we'll err on the side of caution. Probably not the greatest thing to do, but I've been doing it for a while. It seems to help. That's not bad. I like to leave a couple of threads showing. Couple, come up a couple of threads from the bottom, leave a couple from the top, maybe meet midway. I think we're good to go. Let's get a fresh air filter on. All right, I'm gonna hook them up with a replacement of this too. I mean, this one could be used for some trashy machine and I'm selling for 50 bucks. These are nice, so I'm gonna pop that in. Which way does it go? No, it goes this way. But this is dirty. So I'm gonna just clean this out, give it a good, flush, pop it in, and we're pretty much done. All right, that was a little bit long of a video, but there's a lot involved in these things. It just is, you can't rush everything. That's crazy. I'm not going to just, start speeding up the footage all the time and no. Right? So I'm not going to do that for every video or whatever, but this was fun and this was a little challenging and I had to be a little bit more reserved, like I said earlier, because it was in really nice shape and he didn't actually authorize me, to just rip it all apart. Now, what he told me is that it's for a friend's machine and this guy had been working on it. So if it wasn't him, it was this guy. It was the other guy. It's always the other guy, right? So I didn't do it. It's the other guy that did it. It might have been. And he wanted to return it. This is what he said. When I remember, he wanted to return it in working stead, which is admirable. So he has it back now, and he was very happy. And I think the price was good. It did the full tune-up as well. And he started it. He ran it. He understood what to do. He knows a lot. And like I said, he probably could have done this himself. He was like, I'm going to do it on my kitchen table because he's not ready for anything like that. He's in that transition period. Oh, I was there years ago, right? As a young man, before I started building and constructing and changing my life. Thanks for watching this episode. If you guys, again, leave more comments. I'll see you later.